Every time a man over 50 consumes alcohol, a specific, well-documented biological cascade begins that simultaneously suppresses testosterone production, accelerates its conversion to estrogen, and impairs the liver's ability to clear that estrogen from the body. I'm Dr. James Whitaker, board-certified urologist, and today I'm going to give you the most complete, mechanism-level explanation of how alcohol affects male hormonal health that I believe you will find in any video or article available. I want to do this because most men have a vague, intuitive sense that alcohol and testosterone don't mix well, but almost none of them understand why. And without understanding the why, the practical implications remain abstract rather than motivating real change. Let me start at the foundation: how testosterone is produced in the healthy male body. Testosterone is synthesized primarily in specialized cells called Leydig cells, which are located in the testes and make up approximately 5 to 10% of testicular volume. The production of testosterone by Leydig cells is controlled by a hormonal cascade that begins in the brain. The hypothalamus, a small region at the base of the brain, releases a hormone called gonadotropin-releasing hormone, or GnRH, in precisely timed pulses approximately every 90 to 120 minutes. The entire system operates as a negative feedback loop. When testosterone levels in the bloodstream are adequate, the hypothalamus and pituitary reduce GnRH and LH secretion respectively, reducing testosterone production. When levels fall, GnRH and LH increase, stimulating more production. This elegant self-regulating system maintains testosterone within its physiological range when it is not disrupted by external factors. Alcohol disrupts it at multiple points simultaneously, and understanding each disruption explains why the overall hormonal effect is so significant. Alcohol crosses the blood-brain barrier readily. This is how it produces its intoxicating effects. Once in the central nervous system, alcohol directly impairs the pulsatile secretion of GnRH from the hypothalamus. The precise, rhythmic GnRH pulses that drive the entire testosterone production cascade become irregular, less frequent, and reduced in amplitude. Ethanol, the alcohol in beverages, and its primary metabolite acetaldehyde are directly toxic to Leydig cells in the testes. They impair the enzymatic activity of the rate-limiting steps in the testosterone biosynthetic pathway, particularly the activity of the enzyme CYP11A1, which catalyzes the first and rate-limiting step in converting cholesterol to pregnenolone. Acetaldehyde also promotes oxidative stress within Leydig cells, damaging their mitochondria, which provide the energy required for steroidogenesis and producing reactive oxygen species that further impair enzymatic function. The combination of impaired enzymatic activity and oxidative cellular damage directly reduces the capacity of Leydig cells to produce testosterone, independent of the hormonal signal they receive from LH. Disruption point 3. Estrogen accumulation through two simultaneous mechanisms. This is the dimension of alcohol's hormonal effects that I find most clinically significant and most underdiscussed. Estrogen is a normal component of the male hormonal environment. Men produce small amounts of estrogen primarily through the conversion of testosterone by the enzyme aromatase. Healthy testosterone to estrogen ratios in men are maintained by both the rate of estrogen production and the efficiency of estrogen clearance by the liver. Alcohol impairs both sides of this balance simultaneously. On the clearance side, alcohol impairs hepatic function, slowing the liver's metabolism of estrogens into their inactive forms for excretion. Even moderate acute alcohol consumption measurably impairs hepatic estrogen clearance for 12 to 24 hours. Chronically elevated estrogen in men produces the characteristic physical changes seen in men who drink regularly over years: breast tissue development from estrogen receptor stimulation in mammary tissue, redistribution of fat toward a female pattern, hips, thighs, and abdomen, driven by estrogen's effects on adipose tissue distribution, reduced testicular volume from the combined effects of direct Leydig cell damage and the negative feedback from elevated estrogen suppressing LH. More fat converts more testosterone to estrogen, and more estrogen promotes more fat accumulation. Please stop what you're doing for a moment and subscribe to this channel. I'm Dr. James Whitaker, and what I'm sharing today is the kind of detailed, mechanism-level hormonal education that most men never receive, not from their primary care physicians, not from popular health media. This information is available in the medical literature, and I believe every man over 50 deserves access to it. Hit subscribe, hit like, share this video with a man in your life who drinks regularly and has been wondering why his energy, libido, and muscle mass have declined. And drop a comment telling me honestly, How many units of alcohol do you consume per week? The answer matters for understanding what this information means for you specifically. Now let me walk through specific drinking patterns and what they mean hormonally, because the relationships are dose-dependent and the distinctions matter clinically. Multiple studies using carefully controlled protocols have measured testosterone levels in healthy men at intervals following standardized alcohol consumption. The findings are consistent. Testosterone levels begin declining within 30 to 60 minutes of significant alcohol consumption. The decline continues through the drinking period and into the hours following. By the morning after a night of heavy drinking, testosterone levels are measurably and significantly below each individual's pre-drinking baseline. The testosterone that drives the nocturnal penile tumescence reflex is simply not present in adequate concentration. Light to moderate habitual drinking, 1 to 2 drinks per day, several times per week. The hormonal consequences of this level of consumption depend on multiple individual factors including baseline testosterone levels, genetic variation in alcohol metabolizing enzymes, body composition, and age. Research evidence in young, healthy men suggests that light, consistent drinking produces minimal, measurable hormonal impact. However, and this is an important qualification, for men over 50 whose testosterone is already declining at 1 to 2% per year from age-related factors, any additional suppressive effect from regular alcohol consumption adds to a hormonal headwind that may be clinically meaningful. A man at 50 who has testosterone in the lower quarter of the normal range may be pushed into a symptomatic range by the cumulative effect of moderate regular drinking, when he would otherwise have remained asymptomatic. Chronic heavy drinking, sustained heavy alcohol use over years. This is where the hormonal consequences become severe and in some cases, irreversible. Studies of men with alcohol use disorder consistently document testosterone levels dramatically below age-matched non-drinking controls. In those who develop alcoholic liver disease, ranging from fatty liver to alcoholic hepatitis to cirrhosis, the hormonal disruption compounds. The liver is the primary site of both estrogen clearance and sex hormone-binding globulin production. Let me specifically address beer, because I want men to understand why beer may be particularly problematic from a hormonal standpoint compared to other alcoholic beverages. Beer is produced using hops, the female flowers of the Humulus lupulus plant, as a flavoring and preservative agent. Hops contain phytoestrogens, plant-derived compounds that bind to and activate estrogen receptors in human tissues. The specific phytoestrogen most relevant is 8-prenylnaringenin, which has been identified in peer-reviewed pharmacological research as one of the most potent phytoestrogens found in any dietary source. Regular beer consumption delivers this phytoestrogenic compound on top of the alcohol-mediated aromatase promotion and hepatic estrogen clearance impairment I described earlier, creating a triple estrogenic insult that is particularly significant for men already dealing with age-related testosterone decline. The question I hear from patients, does testosterone recover if I reduce or stop drinking? The honest answer is, it depends on the duration and severity of prior consumption. But for the majority of men in the moderate drinking range, yes, meaningful recovery is achievable. The hypothalamic pituitary axis suppression from alcohol is pharmacologically reversible. As alcohol is cleared, GnRH and LH release normalize. Leydig cell function, if not permanently damaged by long-term heavy exposure, recovers as the toxic effects of ethanol and acetaldehyde clear. Hepatic estrogen metabolism improves as liver enzyme activity normalizes. The aromatase upregulation from adipose tissue persists as long as the adipose tissue is present, but this too can be addressed through weight loss. Studies examining testosterone levels in men who significantly reduce or stop drinking after a period of regular consumption consistently show measurable improvements in testosterone within weeks to months, with the trajectory and degree of recovery depending on the duration and severity of prior consumption. For men who have been drinking moderately for years rather than severely for decades, 3 to 6 months of abstinence or significant reduction is typically sufficient to see meaningful hormonal improvement. What are the practical implications for a man over 50 who is trying to support his testosterone, his energy, his muscle mass, and his sexual function? Every drink you consume is, to some degree proportional to the amount, suppressing the hormonal system that underlies all of those things. Reducing or eliminating alcohol is one of the most direct, immediately achievable, zero-cost interventions available for supporting male hormonal health. I'm Dr. James Whitaker, This is not about judgment of drinking as a personal or social behavior. This is about giving you accurate information about the physiological consequences so you can make informed choices. Subscribe for weekly medical content at this level of detail. I'll see you in the next video.